That was at your house, for Christmas. And
we had just come back from our honeymoon.
Yeah, we'd come back early because the snow was so deep and the temperatures were so terribly cold.
In North Carolina.
In North Carolina.
That was back when we both had different hair, huh?
Or hair.
Hair.
Yeah. Yep. That was.
Oh my goodness.
It wasn't long after that we loaded up our little U-Haul and pulled it back to the University of Cincinnati and moved into the tiny parsonage house that.
Did you have green plaid pants?
No, just green.
That's
matches
plaid.
my shirt.
That's plaid. I guess it was Christmas. That's okay.
Yeah. So yeah, good Christmas.
North Carolina.
For
I'm not
sure.
used to
This one's really recent. Say when that is.
Bobby B's birthday bash.
Yeah, this last fall of 23.
Yeah.
So.
And I think this is when James. Where's James there?
Not Thomas.
Thomas, his dad.
Yep.
Okay, I'm thinking about his dad.
Yeah.
Thomas came and said, "Would you be okay with us carrying you in on a throne?" So I was a little nervous that they would.
So
drop
Thomas
us.
and his group built all these
Yeah.
two chairs and got some red velvet chairs. pretty cool. So this is the hooligans.
Yeah.
I guess that are bringing that in. So we're coming in past the Ferris wheel and the other big carnival swing, and they were getting ready to do. I guess a birthday song or something. The crazy thing about it, remember we finished this at 9:30, got in the car and drove a few hours north on our way to another appointment that we had to be at the next morning. So that was.
Seems like I was kind of tired the next morning.
Past fall when the women's soccer team won the national championship and we were all asked to come out and meet the team. And we were lucky enough to
You
hold.
had just gotten back from going to see them.
Yeah, hold the championship trophy all decked out in our yellow. This is one with Reuben Welch, one of the folks I think that I admire most about this place and its long history. I was in chapel when I was in college, not here, as a sophomore when Reuben came to speak about his new book, We Really Do Need Each Other. And I remember to this day the impact that this kind of really interestingly styled speaker from California presented this in such a deep and sincere way. And every encounter with Reuben has been just like that all the way along.
Is he the one that told you to plant trees or to stay a while?
No, he's the one that said, if you want to make a difference around this university, you've got to stay a long time. And that, I think, has been one of the important guiding factors in our time here. But it was really early on, as you can tell by the dark actual hair color. And
he still has a head of hair now, you know. He's
yeah,
about
he
100.
does. Yeah, he'll be 100 on November 1st, 2024. But I think this might be, this is
probably, this looks
I think
like
this
it's
is
out
Nicholson,
at the
and
dedication, maybe?
I'm thinking this is the dedication in the
Okay.
fall, November of 1997, when I came to meet the board as the president-elect. So,
'Cause I think this is the first building that had that fake-looking wood.
the
that's concrete.
board formed concrete. Yeah, so that was a significant conversation, and I think that was where he said, if you want to make a difference, stay a long time in that. So we'll go from the very beginning weekend to one of the more recent. This is the
Just this one.
Regional Center
Okay, I
for the
didn't-
College of Health
'cause I've not
Science.
been there. I've still got to
And
go
this is the dedication in October of, I think would be 3 years ago now.
there. Has it
So
been that long?
we each got a cut of the ribbon. So yeah, that's been a wonderful new facility for the campus, and so excited about what's going on there. No, this was when we came out to
to-
accept the election to begin. And so this is the board meeting that I met with the board. And then after that is when we went over, well, you were here
I was here
too,
for that,
and kids.
yeah.
We went over to the Nicholson dedication, but Clary Kinsler and
I miss these
Will
two
Spate,
guys.
yeah, those were, had it not been for them, we never would have come. I think they literally opened up a vision of what this could be and our place in it. So forever
And both of their
grateful.
grandsons, well, his grandson is now an ASB officer.
Yeah.
And his kids,
his-
grandkids have gone on through.
Yeah,
so-
and their son's on the board now.
Oh,
this is
I love
commencement.
that. For Julie.
Julian.
2002.
Yep, 2002. Yeah, that was.
I was glad somebody caught that picture.
Remember, I had 24 yellow roses for her that I
She gets on
stopped
every
the line
birthday.
and stopped the line. And
Somebody got a
gave-
picture and sent it to me with Roger,
Yeah,
Jonathan's dad,
uh-huh.
who was on the board, standing there
behind.
too, so
Yep.
we got all of them.
Yeah, I think
So,
I've got that in the office.
science.
This is the groundbreaking for the science. So there, Frank and Cynthia Sater are there. Ken Martin, who longtime faculty. Gordon Carrier, Joe Watkins, and I think these others were students, but I can't quite recall names. But yeah, that was right up there on the edge of Calf Lane.
A picture that I wish I had, I mean, I know I've got it somewhere, probably on the computer, was, every year when we do that Pray for Point Loma,
Yeah,
I can remember more than one year, you would stand there and you would look over the land and just pray for that building to come. And it finally got here.
it was 2 false starts because of 9/11 and the economic crash, and finally in 2014 it happened. So yeah, thanks be to God.
There have never been too many things that keep you awake at night, but I can remember just trying to get that building after 2 false starts, trying to find a way to make it happen, and it finally.
Well, it felt like it would never happen, and we finally figured out a strategy that I still think was God inspired to get it done. Yeah, this is my brief military service. This is I don't think you ever saw it. This
Yeah, I
is
don't think I've seen it.
this is that 8-point prop propeller Navy cargo plane that we took off, remember, from Naval Air Base Coronado, and flew out and landed on the, I think it was the USS Stennis, maybe. So we got caught on the wire in
that
that
feel?
plane. Well, we're facing backwards, so when you get caught, we got all jammed into the seats. I think there were 15 of us from the city, but it was so horribly loud. You had to have these headphones, and then
Who took the picture?
it was one of the
They just sent it to you.
no, it was one of the guys. No, actually, it was me. That's a
Oh.
selfie.
Oh,
And
glad you thought that.
the crazy thing, though, taking off, we're still facing backwards, and you go from 0 to 140 miles an hour in 2 seconds. So when that happened, you literally are thrown against your harnesses and seat belts and all of that. So this is the 50th anniversary of the School of Nursing, and Michelle Ringen is making this presentation. All the nursing students signed these 2 nursing shirts, smocks, whatever, with their signature. And so yeah, really nice commemoration. 50th year in Point Loma, 50th anniversary. of the School of Nursing. So yeah, really, really special event.
What was this? I mean, you just look like you're speaking to the...
This is COVID Town Hall,
Oh,
one of many. And yeah, we are just speaking
It's just the President's Cabinet, and you're just...
to the camera. Well, these are all the resource people. They're all the way around the room, and oftentimes we had people in a second room in order to answer questions. So typically the opening statement, and then we just rotated through with updates. But yeah, I still look at that really tough time as being one of the times that I think helped us serve students really well.
You all worked long days during that time when nobody was...
Yeah, glad to be past it, but I think we did it well. Yeah, this is NSO several years ago too, and Joshua is his name. But yeah, I think that's one of the things we probably have enjoyed the most, is meeting parents and students coming in.
Do you remember the first NSO when we were here?
Oh, I do. It was awful.
That was Julie's year as a freshman, and so I was out taking her around, and that was before we had certain times to come. So everybody just came early so they could get in, and they didn't even have their roommates assigned.
Yeah, the rumor was that if you didn't get there early, you wouldn't get a room. So when I hit campus really early that morning, there were already 300 people outside of Nice Hall waiting on room assignments.
Well, they had to wait there. They had to wait. This was the first year we did it in Nicholson, and the computers went down.
Yep.
Not this picture, but that.
Well, and they were lined up into the basement of Nicholson Commons, up to maybe past the library entrance, and it was hot.
And people were mad.
Angry. Yeah.
Mad. And then the kicker was that night we had parent meeting with like theater in the round, and all you were sitting there, and they were angry.
Yeah,
but I remember a very uncharacteristic comment you made when some lady was really mad, and you said something along the line of, "I am sorry, you are right, but things will change or heads will roll." And so it did.
Yeah, God bless Gordon Golson. That was who I said, Gordon, fix this. and Gordon put together a team of about 20 people.
I mean, basically, we do the same thing now. It's just been tweaked and modified.
Well, constantly improved. And the Welcome Week is even much better. Oh, this is a good one.
I love this. This is Swaziland. Love works with Tim Hall and women's soccer team.
This is, isn't this the one
So
we were
building the latrines.
out? Yeah, we were building a latrine, and these little kids from
Is this the little girl
the
that
bush.
sat on my lap later
No, there was
on?
I think there was a different one, because she was even smaller. But this is where we were doing the hit the fist and do a starburst kind of like that. But yeah, this was. These two pictures are kind of together, because I think these are the same shirt, but the Love Works shirt that we did there in Swaziland. Oh, that's at the the basketball championship in Indiana, where we were there for
and
the
students showed up after we had been there.
Yeah, and I can't remember who the guy in the yellow hair is, but he got a lot of airtime.
I'll think of it in just a little bit. His sister's was here after that.
Okay. So this, same tie. This was.
Fortunately, it's not in color.
I think this was one maybe taken right after we came, and may have been one of the ones in some of the initial publications or Viewpoint or something. But
I bet you Jim and Sally Bond looked at us and said,
what
are they doing, turning this place over to a kid?
Well, we were younger.
I wasn't quite 45.
Yeah. Well, and then nice way to kind of wrap these up, the whole family together, and how our family has been shaped so much by being here at Point Loma. I mean, obviously Julie and Jonathan met here, and their kids, and Jeff and Alicia moved here in 2008, and their whole life is different, and yeah, so that's a good memory of that time. And as you said, to have Andrew Vick take the pictures, who was a student here and a friend of Jonathan and Julie's, and just a really, really good guy. So,
But you're not going to be here to give them their diploma.
yeah, no, kids will graduate.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good point to finish on. That's good.
Wow.
Nice journey,
Nice memory lane journey.
for sure. I mean, when I look through all of this consistently, is kind of grace, hope, and future, I think is what really strikes me about our experiences here. The one I can't miss is community. I mean, we use it all the time, but it's just frankly true. A sense of profound, deep community and relationship in this place.
I mean, it's not always been smooth sailing. I mean, there have been, things that come up that are hard.
Yeah.
Whether it's the delay of a building or COVID or any number of things, but God's just been faithful.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be an easy journey. It's a journey of life. It's a journey with people. And I think one of the things I'm grateful for is the opportunity to have seen people over time and see the great influences of everybody across the university. Not just in recent times, but as I look back throughout the history, really all the way back to the beginning, we have been blessed deeply by the promise of God. I've said many times, Isaiah 62 still is in Scripture, and that promise is still true.
And he said many times, we have to remember this is not our place. We're just stewards for a while.
Stewards for a time. And the time's slipping through the hourglass quickly. It is moving rapidly, but I think we'll always be grateful for an opportunity to have lived in this time and stewarded together with so many other wonderful people at Point Loma.